And good morning, everybody. Good morning. Life has a way of playing games with us. Is based on what we see. A lot of times we make decisions on what we see. And sometimes we forget that there is an unseen seer. That's what we're going to talk about today. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to invite somebody to share. Tell them coffee time is on. And I promise you, I'll be back right after this.
Coffee time, coffee time. Yeah, this ain't your average cup of joe. Listen, I need it in the morning, I need it at night. He always keeps it brewing, he always keeps it tight. Just a little sip, it'll get you right. Terrence Pickett always be the one that gets the coffee right. The coffee's right, the coffee's right in my life. It's never a wrong time over crime to get what's yours and to get what's mine. Come on. Coffee time in my life. Coffee time feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you stir it, Terrence? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on. Time in my life. Coffee time feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you stir it, Terrence? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on.
And good morning, everybody. It's a wonderful morning to be alive. I'm grateful. Listen, it's good to be on top of the dirt. Somebody didn't wake up this morning, and for that alone, you ought to be grateful. You ought to be thankful. And with thanksgiving and gratefulness, that alone should be enough just to start your day. So we're grateful for that. I'm grateful for all of you who are on. Yolanda Brooks, good morning. Andrea Mitchell, good morning. Gary Randolph, my bro, good morning. Star Wright, good morning. Dorethia Waltina, Kane, what's up? Good morning. Good to see you. Hopefully all is well with you and yours, you and your family. So I'm reminded, my family and we're celebrating, and I'm going to be celebrating on my flood your timelines with my family, primarily because for the first time in years, many years, we were able to get together and celebrate my cousin, Dr. Jasmine Honey Kelly, 23 years old. She graduated from the Hill. That's FAMU. You know what it is. We celebrated her this weekend. And for the first time in years, we were able to get together as a family, and it wasn't a funeral or a homegoing. So not only is it a great achievement for her, she's made her parents proud. She's made the family proud. She also brought us all together. And for that, I'm grateful. I'm not doing crowds, family or not. Pickett ain't doing them. But I had to make this one. And I'm glad I did. Jonquil, Lanisha, Hudno, good morning. Bonda Oliver, good morning. And good morning to everybody. So there is a euphemism, an adage that says you have to fight to win. And if you know who lives on the inside of you, you don't have to fight to win. You just show up to the fight and you've already won. And sometimes we have to be reminded of the unseen help, the unseen strength, the grace, and supernatural ability that we have, even though it's not visible. Sunshine 1113, good morning. Teresa Bryant, thanks for sharing, Teresa. For all of you on YouTube, you're the real MVP. Thank you for showing up on YouTube. Make sure you make comments, ask questions, do all that stuff. It helps us out tremendously. For those of you that are on Facebook and other platforms, Periscope, LinkedIn, thank you for showing up. If you have a YouTube account, go there. If not, stay where you are. We appreciate you as well. The bro is on, Mr. Brian Armstrong, Senior. What up, bro? Good to see you, man. Michelle Byers, good morning. John Queer, that's right. Pop over to YouTube. I appreciate that. So for those of you that you're unaware, before we get rolling, YouTube promised to pay me. So just some of the funds that we need to expand the platform, some of the funds we need for recording, some of the funds that we need to help feed the homeless, feed the hungry, assist with orphans as well as widows. We still do that every week. We also support the Edith Marie Foundation. We give to that foundation monthly. They take care of expenses that come with cancer patients. So when you have cancer, you can't work. When you have cancer, it's hard to do anything. We assist with their paying of the bills, taking care of the children, making sure they have great Christmases, all that stuff. Coffee Time is a partner with the Edith Marie Foundation. So when you give to Coffee Time, it covers a whole lot of different things. And for that, I'm grateful. E.C. Weston is in the building. We still need to talk about one of your shows on Lit TV. Which one is that? Mike Grubbs with the bell-bottom jeans on. We need to talk about that. Anyway, good to see you, bro. John Quill is on YouTube. Gary Randolph, the bro, is on YouTube. E.C. Weston is, you know what? I got to give all these YouTube people a great big round of applause. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. Michelle is joining us this morning. Good morning, Michelle. Hopefully all is well with you and yours. So there's a euphemism, and that is that says you have to fight to win. And sometimes I think we get caught up in what we see. The focal part of our attention should never be on what is. You have greater strength. There's a greater grace available for you. But the way that you tap into that grace, the way you tap into that strength is by remembering in who you trust. There is never a time when God doesn't have you on his mind. I'm going to say that again. Though it's simple, it's yet profound. Angie, I'm so blessed. Daniels, good morning. Thanks for joining us. There is never a time when God doesn't have you on his mind. And I think it's real important for me to say it and for you to think about it, because though it's known and it's common, I don't think it's really understood. And the reason I don't believe it's understood is that so many things that we stress out over, the only reason we're stressed is we've forgotten we have unseen help. And let me tell you how this unseen help works. Have you ever heard a voice tell you don't do this or don't do that or do this and not do that? And it turns out that the move that you made set you up for great success. Well, that's the unseen help that I'm talking about. Shakaya Top Notch Whitaker, good morning. Glad you joined us. I'm so happy for you and the love of your life. I pray for you guys daily. For all of you that are on Coffee Time, Encounter, Terrence Pickett Live, if you show up on here, I pray for you. I do. I really do. Tina White McPherson, good morning. There's never a time that God doesn't have you on his mind, and he is concerned about every detail of your life, no matter how seemingly small it is to you. He's concerned about it, and he wants to secure your success. Success is not secured by your movement. Your movement is a sign that you believe you're going to be successful. Success is secured by the unseen seer who knows all things, and there's never a time when he does not know. He's gone before you to secure your success, and he's sending you signals on what to do and what not to do. You know, I was raised in an era where we as people have become so iconoclastic that I was raised in an era where only certain people with certain gifts were allowed to speak about God to anybody. You know, you had to have a license, and you had to be known by the elders. And I understand, in a way to protect people from the wolf, that they just didn't want anybody around there speaking, and that's good. But it's also, if we're not careful, can be out of balance, because you never know when God is going to use somebody to confirm something with you, to get something to you, and to give you the light of wisdom that you need to help govern the darkness of the day. And it's to a great deal because of the wolf. I was raised in an era where if you did not have a pulpit ministry, you were very limited at what you could do. And it was because of the wolf. It was because of the wolf. Here's the reality. God can use anybody, anytime, anywhere to confirm, to do, or help his work in you in the earth. There's a level of understanding that you need to have as it relates to who these people are. One scripture says, you know, be careful who you entertain, because some have unknowingly entertained angels. What does that mean? That means angels aren't the pictures that we see with the halo and the wings. They look like us. If they unknowingly entertain angels, that means the angel could be confused as a human. So there's a level of sensitivity that we have to walk in. There's a level of understanding that we have to walk in, because that sensitivity and that understanding will help protect us to receive the things that God have for us and reject the things that are against us. And I think we spend so much time focusing on what's wrong with us that we can't see what's right with us. And when we become so sin conscious, focused on what I'm not, oh, I've blown it again. That level of consciousness literally builds a barrier for you to not be able to see the love of God, the grace of God, and the power of God that's working in you and with you to do his good pleasure. So our hearts really should be filled with more of thanksgiving than anything, just thanking this God, thanking this unseen seer, thanking this help. That's how David described him. David called him help. He says, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from which cometh my help, my helper comes from the Lord who created the heavens and the earth. He didn't stop at just calling him his help. He also identified who he was. He's the creator of all things. And you need to know that as you're navigating through the vicissitudes of life, that there is a God that is there. He knows all. He sees all. There's never a time when he does not know and he's not in the know. And it's his desire to share his knowledge with you. But there's an openness and a sensitivity that you have to have. It's not spooky. You don't have to walk around praying in tongues all day. I was also raised in an era. Boy, listen, the saints they were scary. No, let me tell you silly. You on them people's job speaking in tongues. For what? Because with discipline comes discretion. You're not there to speak in tongues. You're not there to lay hands. You're not there to talk about your God. You're there to do a job. And if you do the job well and love becomes a fragrance in your life, you will draw people to you so you can tell them of the unseen seer. But the problem with us is that we want our words and our mouth to go before our actions. No, your actions, your love, your acts of kindness should precede anything that comes out of your mouth. You don't have to tell people who you are. I laugh at people when they say, it's not about me. I'm just trying to help people. And the first thing they do when they introduce themselves is give you their title. Sir, ma'am, that means it's about you. I laugh at people on Facebook when they have evangelist this, prophet this, pastor this, I'm this. Tells me you're not secure in who you are. Because if you were secure in your name, it's Facebook. Not Bible book, Facebook. You got all these titles. You got more degrees than a thermometer. And you want everybody to respect who you say you are. But how does your walk look? Is your walk seasoned with grace, meekness, and love? If love is not the principal thing in your life that can be seen, felt, or heard, you might as well take that title off your name. Title means no good without love. And we live in a generation that's rewarded for potential. I'm going to say that again. We live in a generation that's rewarded for potential. When I was coming up, you were rewarded for what you did, not for what you say you were going to do. So there's a lot of saying. And because potential has been rewarded, now people don't have the discipline to follow through with what they say they would do because they know how to get the goods or the fruit before they help groom the tree. So now we pay people a lot of money for what they say they can do, not for what they've done. So we've alleviated the process of becoming. We've ignored community, and we've become this self-sufficient, self-gratifying being. This is what I am and this is what I do. Who's confirmed you in the earth? Yeshua the Messiah, Jesus, had to be confirmed in the earth. He was confirmed and affirmed. When he went down in the pool of Jordan to be baptized, the Bible says that the Spirit came down as a dove, and the heavens opened up and said, "This is my beloved Son." That's confirmation. In whom I'm well pleased. That's affirmation. So we got a bunch of people that talk about what they are. Who confirmed you? Who affirmed you? Who gave you the license to be able to be a voice and speak into somebody's life? But because we're used to, and we've gotten caught with this technology, and technology, again, it pays potential. Now I can be whoever I want to be. And we've given fools microphones to talk about nothing. I look at some of these shows. There are times when I just take and scroll through Facebook and I listen. Some shows are really, really good. There are a few that I really like. And I tune in, when I can. And some people are on live, Instagram live, YouTube. So what y'all doing? There should be a purpose. There should be a purpose. I don't believe we should put a mic in everybody's hand. God can use anybody, but he will use those that are prepared, those that are willing, and those that have done their homework. So we have to lead with love, not titles. I'm going to tell you all something. If you are introduced to somebody and they give you a title, they're not what they say they are. That's why they're giving you the title. They're trying to prove it to themselves. Think about this. How many times have you met someone? Stephanie Clark, good morning. Thanks for joining us. How many times have you met someone? They say, "Hi, I'm Terrence Pickett and I'm a man." Boy, what? You know why you don't say that? "Hi, I'm Michelle and I'm a woman." You don't introduce yourself that way. You know why? Because you know what you are. And you're so confident in that it speaks for itself, so it needs no introduction. That's one of the biggest turnoffs to me. You on Facebook talking about pastor, apostle, bishop, I'm prophet. The great T.D. Jakes, who has crossed all types of borders and expanded the gospel in ways we can only imagine. His page says T.D. Jakes. And you're greater than that? I like that, Gary. Gary said what's understood doesn't have to be explained. So there's a sensitivity that we do have to have even towards people. People always are telling you who they are, but you cannot allow people to put pressure on you to absorb who they are. Now you're stressed out and you're out of focus in terms of the things that you're supposed to be doing in the earth. So, when we talk about the unseen seer, you have unseen help. Let me tell you something. You don't have to kiss up to nobody. You don't have to bow down to nobody. I've got E.C. Weston will tell you this. He and I have been serving side by side for a while in various components, various businesses. And he will tell you, I am the same person. I don't care where I am. He and I, we've worked together. A couple of jobs, we worked together. We've done contract work together. I've never dumbed down who I am in order to fit in the small peg of your imagination. I am who I am. Now, I'm committed to getting better. I am committed to getting better. But my greatness exceeds your platform. My greatness exceeds your job. And wherever I am, my work is going to shine. You're not going to find anybody, you're not going to find a better worker than me. And you're not going to find anyone who can really balance confidence and meekness. Meekness is its strength under control. I'm going to study. I'm going to learn. I'm going to be better than everybody else. That's my goal. It's a personal goal, not so I can look down at people. No, I want to be the best in my field. Let me tell you how I do it. I listen to the wisdom that's given to me from the people who serve in the place where I'm trying to gain great achievements. So there's a listening, there's an openness that I have. I process, I study. I remember E.C. Weston and I was on an assignment together, and I would call him early in the morning. I would call him at night, asking questions. Hey, what about this? So I remain a student. There is great wisdom in understanding the position of a student. And there are a lot of times we get ourselves in things because we don't want to listen. We don't want to hear. We don't want to adhere to wisdom that is going before us to help make us better, to help perfect us where we're called to be. So the door's open, but we're not prepared to walk in because we have rejected knowledge. And sometimes we reject knowledge based on the person that gives it. Here's the deal. God never promised you that everything that he has for you and everything that he was going to tell you was going to flow through the lips of those you love. He never even promised it was going to flow from those you like. There's a sensitivity to wisdom that you're supposed to have, even if it came from the mouth of a fool. You should be able to develop the necessary maturity to eat the meat and throw the bones away. So just because a fool is teaching you or telling you, here's the most thing that most people say. Well, you can't tell me if you haven't perfected. Why? You don't know who God's going to use. Some of the greatest wisdom that I've received in my life came from people who couldn't live what they were exercising in words. And they've taught me how to do things. They've taught me how to carry myself. And they themselves were failures in the area that they were speaking so eloquently of. We don't measure wisdom based on your ability. We measure wisdom, knowledge, and understanding based on the sound. There's a story in the Bible of a jackass talking to a man. And it was God speaking through an animal to get this man's attention. What if the man disregarded the animal and said, you can't talk to me because you're not human. I don't want to hear from you. You don't have anything to show for. And there's balance with this. It's balance with it. But you can receive knowledge and wisdom from anything and from anyone. Your sensitivity should be leaning towards your unseen help. And if you have his heart, he will control your ear and you'll be able to hear things in people who can't even live what they're saying. So a part of that unseen help, he speaks through, he moves through, he reveals himself through, he manifests himself in some of the oddest of ways. You need to know that your unseen help uses good and evil. Meaning, it takes a negative charge and a positive charge to run a car. Oh, I know that you're so positive that you don't allow negative around you. You only see the good. Listen to me. It takes both. Wherever there's good, there's going to be evil. Because they work together in the fulfillment of God's plan in the earth. You got to remember that the tree of knowledge, to know, in order to know or be in the know, there has to be a level of awareness. In order to be aware, there has to be choices. The tree of knowledge, good and evil, was in a perfect place. It was in the presence of God. Y'all told me that in his presence dwelleth only good things. But he's the God that created good and evil. What are you saying, Pickett? I'm saying a lot of times we miss our unseen help because it shows up in the face of evil. And because we don't understand the plan, we resist the evil and we just want to embrace the good. There's a lesson to learn in it all. And if you start looking at the negative things that happen in your life and start asking wisdom from God on how to deal with them, you're going to see his hand in both. You have unseen help, but your inability to be able to accept what he's trying to do because it doesn't look right, it's going to keep you wandering in circles. You have evil people that say the right things. You have good people that say the wrong things. You need wisdom to be able to discern the two. You can learn from anything. You can learn from anybody. In everything, I believe there's a blessing in every lesson. And instead of being so emotional, Instead of allowing people to trigger your emotions when things happen that are uncomfortable, you need to start praying, God, give me the lesson in this. Because there's some tests I don't want to see again. Straight up. There's some things that I've gone through. There's some things that I've experienced. I don't ever want to see that again. So I have to be sensitive while I'm going through it, while I'm dealing with it, while I'm learning from it, so that I extract every lesson that is necessary. You're going to be surprised at how the unseen seer moves through those we believe don't and aren't registered to be a voice for him. I think one of the greatest prophets of all time, and I'm going to sit him next to Jeremiah, Isaiah, Micah, Malachi. It's the prophet Malcolm X. We had a man who had understanding as it relates to people of color and the injustices that were done against them. And contrary to what many people believe, his message was the message of reciprocity. Malcolm told the people, they shoot our dog, we're going to shoot theirs. What's evil about that? Listen to me. Listen to me, because there's a principle hidden in this that I'm trying to give you. People will not acknowledge you for your faith. They'll laugh at your faith, right? Then they'll turn around and try and walk over you. And when you stand up to them, they try to use, and all of a sudden they believe you're supposed to be, but you didn't recognize that before now. That's why you cannot live according to the code of conduct of people. We are called to live above. And I think one of the greatest prophets was Malcolm X. I think Tupac was a prophet. You know, if you study the prophets of old, I'm about to give you something here. If you study the prophets of old, the Bible says that John the Baptist lived in the wilderness for 3 years. He ate honey, locusts, and turned to his own dung. That is a very troubling scripture to me, that he ate his own waste. He was weird. He didn't dress. He didn't wear designer clothes. He wore the skin of a bear. He was odd looking. He lived in the woods. To us, he'd be homeless. He lived in the woods. He wore bear skin. He ate his own dung. Who would listen to somebody that looks like they've lost their mind? And that's who God was using to speak to the day, or speak to the generation of that day. You know, everybody's not going to be dressed in priestly white. You're going to have to learn to sharpen your ear to the voice of wisdom so you can hear the wisdom and what's being said and disregard the person that's saying it. Some of the people that have the degrees, they're qualified to speak. Those are the people that get on my nerves, because they're so caught up in what they think they know. They're really not trying to teach us as much as they are trying to reveal to us what they know. They're intoxicated with their own information, and they want you to see how much they know. And there's pride hiding all in that. I listen to people talk, people that are informed on certain issues. And I kid you not, there is a tone to what they say. And there are people that have given me great answers, but because they're so intoxicated within self, their answers become toxic. It becomes noise in my ears because they're baptizing and exalting themselves through what they know. But you all call them pastor, apostle, bishop. You all honor them. You worship them. Those are the ones you need to be careful of. And I'm not saying that you can't have issues and God still use you. You can. But each gift, each thing that is done for God should be laced in love. If love is not the substratum for how you build, then everything you built is in vain. Listen, we have unseen help. On Friday, you know, God does amazing things. Let me tell you what he'll do. God will put a desire in you and a dream in you, and he will make you trust him to fulfill it by surrounding yourself with people that believe in you, that will support you. And this is how he keeps you humble. He's not going to give you everything you need, but you still have the help. You just got to listen. You've got to listen. You've got to listen to the helper. You've got to listen to the one who's in control of all. A lot of people won't live their dreams and they won't step out and do things. Here's why. They bit into the lie of having to need somebody. They don't want to need anybody. I don't want to need nobody. I don't want to have to ask nobody. You know why? It makes you vulnerable, number one. It's nothing like need. Need makes you vulnerable. Need puts you in a place of humility, because for the first time in need, when you're really in need, you're forced to ask. No one likes to open themselves up and be vulnerable and know that there's a possibility the answer is going to be no. And I'm telling you, you have unseen help that keeps putting you in places of need because he's trying to strip pride away from your heart. Oh, you're going to need somebody. It might not be today. It might not be tonight. But as sure as you live in the sunrise, you're going to need somebody tomorrow. There's going to come times in your life when you have to ask for help. Asking for help shows just how powerful you believe in what you're asking for help for. Michelle, I like that. Let's talk about it for a second. I was getting ready to get off here. Michelle says, I don't want to be told no. And thank you so much for being honest. Listen to this. Michelle, if the truth is told, none of us want to be told no. I think there's nothing more humbling and hurting than asking for help and somebody telling you, no, I can't do that. But let me tell you what no does. Believe it or not, no pushes you further on your knees for you to depend on the one that you're believing to bring you out. Now, we don't know who he's going to use, and he puts us in situations where we have to knock on several doors. I like that, Angie. We have to knock on several doors. Did you not know? When you've been told no, Angie says rejection is scary. Listen to me. It's rejection that conditions the heart to develop the strength where you understand no, rejection casts out fear. You're basically forced to confront that rejection, that no. Believe it or not, no and being rejected is laced in insecurity. It is. It shuts you down. Let me tell you what I've learned. Let me tell you something. And God be my secret witness. I've been forced to be in a position where I have to depend on people. And a lot of times I don't know how God is going to provide. Listen to me carefully. I don't know. The Bible says many are the plans of a man's heart, but God directs them all. There's another scripture that says, sow your seed in the morning, for in the evening, you do not know what is going to work, this, that, or all of them. God puts you in a position to hear no and to face rejection, to sharpen the strength in you where no and rejection doesn't stop you. If you never heard it, you can't condition yourself for it. Now, if you look at it from a negative end, it's going to turn you off and you'll never ask again, and you will not fulfill the purpose that God has for your life. Shikaya says, I struggle depending on people. We all do. But here's the deal. There's a strength in being rejected if we take rejection and make it applicable to our strength. I've learned that everybody's not going to say yeah. Let me tell y'all something. Can I confess? Can I be open with you all? Because I'm going to be open. Listen. The hardest thing in the world for me is to come on here and put my Cash App up. Now, you hear me and you hear me good. I still struggle. But slowly but surely, that one thing I did overcome, I do it regardless of how I feel. That's discipline. Here's why. I'm used to funding everything that I do. But if you can do, and you have the resources to do, everything that is in your heart, then what's in your heart is too small. You know how humbling it is to have to ask people, well, we need more money. And this ain't church. I don't have a building. I just have a work. And every day I ask, hey, if you like to give, try and tell people where the money is going, how it's being spent, what we're trying to do. You know how awkward that makes me feel? Listen, I work hard. I've had a full-time job since I was 8 years old. So you don't tell me about work. I work hard. And I have 3 businesses. And all of them don't do good at the same time. My point is, I'm not depending on what you give to live. I work. God has blessed my hands as well as my voice. But I have to look at the bigger picture. This dream that he's given me to change the atmosphere as it relates to TV and radio, as it relates to music, it's bigger than me. So it's going to require me to be vulnerable, to open my heart out and take the risk of being rejected in order for the needs to be met. So let me tell you something. I don't like rejection either. I don't like hearing no. I don't. Friday, we had over 300 people that was on together. And out of the 300 people, when I start talking about giving, 200 left. You think it looks good that when you start asking for money, the numbers go down? That doesn't feel good, man. But because of the discipline that I've developed, because I'm used to it now, I stayed on longer. Played music, showed you what we did last year. We're going to do the same thing. We got we have a Mother's Day concert coming. It's expensive to do that stuff. It's not just a concert. It's a 2-part recording. Part 1 is Mother's Day. Part 2 is we got to go in the studio and complete it, which means we're going to add some songs to it. There's going to be 2 different projects. It's expensive. And I asked God how I'm going to get this done. Do I cash in my 401k? Do I tap into generational wealth? He told me no. Those people have partnered with you. You're just a dreamer.